Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Jamison and this is how I cook. I have prepared for you pan-seared salmon as our recipe that I'm going to demonstrate for you. Salmon is one of my favorite fish to cook, and I'm going to show you how simple it is to get good salmon at home without any of the fuss of having to go out to a restaurant or having to go and pay somebody to cook it for you. I'm going to show you how to get a nice crispy bottom that turns into a beautiful plating, and I'm going to show you two ways of seasoning it. One is going to be a blackened salmon, and the other is going to be just a simple set of salt, pepper, and a few herbs that you may have at home in your kitchen. Up next on This Is How I Cook. All right guys, so we've got two beautiful salmon fillets. This is farm-raised salmon. The way you can tell farm-raised salmon is that it's going to be fattier than your wild-caught salmon. So this technique will work, however, with wild-caught salmon, but this is for my palate and my taste buds. I prefer the farm-raised salmon. We've got some kosher salt, we've got some black pepper, and we've got some garlic, and we've got some dried rosemary. That's going to be for one of our fillets. And then we've got a really easy to use blackened seafood or blackened fish seasoning here. This is called Chef Paul Prudhomme Magic Seasoning Blends, and this is going to be blackened redfish magic. This is great on all types of fish. So I'm going to show you how to blacken a piece of salmon as well. So the first thing we want to do here with our salmon is we're going to take a little bit of olive oil and we're going to coat the fish. Coating the fish in some olive oil will not only help our seasonings adhere, but they're also, the olive oil is also going to help keep the fish from sticking possibly. So we'll take a little bit more. Salmon isn't likely to stick, especially farm-raised salmon, because it has such a high fat content, but I use this anyhow, just in case. So use this same technique with your other types of fish. We want to get both sides here, and this will make it super easy to cook and help the sear develop. This fish is also, it's not exactly room temperature, but it's not also cold like it came out of the refrigerator. So it's had a chance to come up to room temperature a little bit. Now what we want to do is our next step is come in here with some salt, come back in here with some pepper, and then we'll take some of our garlic powder and do the same thing here. And the last thing we do, come in here with our rosemary, pat this in. We're gonna flip this over, do the other side the same way. All right, our first piece is done. What you want to do also in the meantime is turn your oven on to 425, and we're going to finish this fish in the oven, but we're going to start it on the stove. And so next we're going to take our blackened fish seasoning here, and we're going to use this generously on our fish. And then what you could do also is take your fish on the edge and hit the sides with what's left on here. Now we need to put this into a hot cast iron skillet, and then get the sear beginning to happen on the stove, and we'll take it and put it into the oven and finish off cooking it. All right, so we're going to start our sear on the stove first, and then we're going to go into the oven. The same thing we've done in previous videos. We want to use a high temp cooking oil. So this is avocado oil. It has a high smoking point, and so we just put a nice coat of oil into the pan. So when you begin to see wisps of smoke coming off of the oil, that's how you know that your skillet is hot enough. So when I put this fish in, you'll hear a beautiful sizzle. And so I'll take the other piece and do the same thing. And what you want to do here is, now we've got our fish in cooking, we want to adjust our temperature. I like a medium heat here. And all I'm gonna do is allow my fish to sear in the pan. And so by doing this, what we're doing is creating a crust on the bottom of the fish. And that crusty side of the fish is going to be the side that we serve as we plate the food. All right, guys, so we have our fish done. Probably took me about 5 minutes in the oven. And you see this white stuff that's coming out of this? This is called albumin. This is nothing more than just protein that comes out of fish when it's cooked. This happens, in my opinion, less often when the fish hasn't been frozen ahead of time. And so this fish came out of my freezer, so I think that's why we had so much here happening. There's other techniques to mitigate this, but the simplest thing to do is like what I'm doing here is I'm just removing this albumin from the top here. So I have some asparagus that I've already sauteed, and we're going to use this asparagus to plate our fish. And our last thing we got to do here is we want to show off that beautiful sear that we developed. And I'm sure to support that crispy thin piece on the outside, and I take my time, catch it, and I take my fish and flip it over. And that is my crispy, beautifully pan-seared piece of salmon. I want you to hear how crispy this salmon is. Listen to my fork. Perfect. Time for the taste test. Let's see what we got. I'm gonna start with this crispy end over here. This real thin, crispy piece. This is the best part. Wow. Let me get another bite here, just to make sure I tasted that the way I think I tasted it the first time. Oh man, the texture of that fish is amazing. It's crispy on one side, you bite through that crispy exterior, and you get down to this delicate, flaky, moist, buttery, delicious, soft salmon, perfectly cooked. Guys, thank you again for watching this episode. I'm Chef Jamison, this is my kitchen, and this is how I cook. I'm gonna finish the salmon real quick. Make sure y'all hit that subscription button. Man, this is good. Every bite is amazing.